These are the plaintiffs, Letitia and Darren Holmes. Letitia says they hired the defendant to cater their wedding, and the servers who worked for the defendant looked like they just walked off the street. Their hair was frazzled, their shirts were untucked, and they were wearing sandals. There was also a food shortage. Their big day was a big fiasco, and they're here suing for a refund of $1,275. This is the defendant, Jacqueline Johnson. She says she had plenty of food for the plaintiff's guests, and if someone didn't eat, it's because they weren't sitting at the tables. The plaintiffs got everything that was stated in their contract. They had a wonderful day and are now just trying to save some money by getting a refund from her for trumped-up causes. She's accused of failing a bride. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $1,500 for defamation and lost wages.
All parties, please raise your right hand. Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Letitia Holmes and Darren Holmes, congratulations.
Thank you.
You were married this, what month? April?
December of last year, 2018.
December of last year. Okay. You hired Ms. Johnson and Jack of all trades, events and decor to assist you in the wedding.
Yes.
You were paying her $3,100 for what? Catering, decorating, anything else?
Both of them. She
Both
was supposed to decorate and cater.
Okay.
Yes.
And according to you, she breached the contract.
Yes.
What went wrong?
Well, when I met with Jackie, we met back in November of 2018. I came to Jackie with pictures.
I'm sorry, when was your wedding?
It was December 2018.
You met her a month before your wedding?
Yes. Why? Because we were going to the courthouse. That was already planned. But we figured out after we had planned our wedding, we had money. So
what'd you do? Find it on the couch?
No, we got a wedding gift.
Okay.
So the wedding gift allowed us to go ahead and start planning for a reception.
Okay.
We wanted our friends to be present for our big day. Okay. So we went along, we went to her with pictures and everything and all my vision.
Right. Can I just ask you, your vision was for a reception a month later or no?
It was supposed to be February 2019.
Okay, so you were actually getting married at the courthouse in December.
Yes.
And then in February, you would have a big reception.
Yes,
for
ma'am.
them. Okay.
Yes.
So you see her in November.
We see her in November. I go to her. I have plans laid out. I have
So tell me just a little bit about your vision.
Well, my vision was a royal vision, royalty. We had crowns for myself, my husband, and my family, my daughter, son, and mom. We also had visions for our guests to show up the same way. We as African American, we are not invited to royal events. We know of no royal people. So I wanted to bring royalty to my friends.
I'm not invited to royal events.
Hey, come on, you're Judge Millian.
No, I'm not, I can tell you right now that I have not been invited to any royal events.
You're next, okay, for our next one. So I had such a vision, even down to the smell. I wanted plug-ins in the walls. I wanted to bring them to the kingdom. Therefore, I wanted a lot of gold bling. I had my colors, gold, red, and white, all set out, the layout set out.
At any point in time, between the time you first met her and the time and the day of your wedding, were you unpleased about anything? Or it's how the wedding was actually executed that displeased you?
It was actually the way it was executed. We had some little flaws here and there, but what I did is I stayed professional.
Okay, may I see the contract?
Yes.
If you have an original, what I'd like to see is the original, not a copy.
All right.
I have it if she doesn't.
I think I have a copy.
All right, just show me your copy because I'm kind of concerned that each of you have submitted contracts and the two contracts say two different things. All right, I am confused about some stuff. I'm gonna need you to step up a second because there's two different handwritings on these contracts and I wanna understand whose handwriting it is. Whose handwriting is this?
Mine.
Okay. Whose handwriting is this?
Hers.
Okay, why is she writing on the contract as opposed to you?
She wrote on it after she filed her lawsuit.
Okay, so your implication is that she's doctoring this up.
Exactly.
Except I have a problem, and I'm going to tell you what my problem is. This is the evidence you have submitted to court. And in the evidence you have submitted to court, there are contracts that are in your possession with that same handwriting. So how are they in your possession if she doctored them up after she took them home?
Show me.
What's that?
That's the paper that she actually brought to me with someone else's work. This is not a contract. This is just a copy of something that she brought of telling me what she wanted or what she thought she wanted. This is something that she
Okay,
brought
so
to
you
me.
acknowledge that everything that's written here is
not a part of my contract.
No, just a second. She doesn't give it to you for you to fan yourself with.
I understand.
It's something she was asking for and something that was, I mean, if you've got it and it's written down and you've taken it from her, you've accepted it, how is it this isn't part of the contract? So this is her handwriting, and this is a piece of paper that she gave you that you got because you gave it to me. All right, go ahead and go back.
Thanks.
All right, so now what happens?
On that evening, my husband and I walked in. First, my mom and daughter, son walked in, and they were supposed to make the first entrance. They did. They made the entrance. We're standing out. We're waiting. Jackie and a few other people were taking pictures of us. Our guests are standing, and we were at a standstill. All of a sudden, Jackie says, "Let me go and get your carpet." I said, "I'm sorry, my carpet? My family didn't walk on a carpet?" So she takes off, and she stays gone for about 8 minutes. I do have a video that shows.
What were you doing while she was gone?
We're standing there, and I'm sweating, and I'm about to lose it, Judge. However, I kept my composure. She finally came in, and she had a black carpet. The video shows that our dancers that we had there, they were called by her workers to help put the carpet down. And they weren't there for that. But anyway, they helped. And it was a black carpet, and they threw
And
some...
your contract, you do acknowledge that the contract specifically calls for a red one. What went wrong with the carpet?
Before she asked that if her dancer, she had a bunch of kids, about 13 kids, she wanted them to actually practice at the wedding before she actually came
Inside
out.
the venue.
Inside the venue. So what they did was they went outside to practice, but they wanted to do a run on the actual order.
Inside the venue.
Inside.
So they
what
went outside to practice, and then they went inside the venue to do a rehearsal or whatever.
Rehearsal. And what happened was it was a little rainy outside, and they marked up the red carpet. So what I did was I made the conscious decision, since I couldn't sweep the dirty marks off, I rolled it up and I got the black carpet out of the car for her.
Right, but why was that happening while she was standing there with 8 minutes?
Because that's what she wanted. I didn't want to give her a dirty carpet, ma'am.
Now, had anybody told you at that point that the carpet is black and not red because dancers had whatever? So that's the answer for the red carpeting. What else went wrong? There was supposed to be fruit. According to you, there's supposed to be fruit and bread and butter on every table.
Yes.
And according to you, there wasn't.
There was not fruit, bread, or butter on the tables.
There was no fruit, no bread, and no butter on any table?
On any table.
Now, according to you, you have videos showing that there's bread and butter on the table?
I have a photo.
Thank you.
What was the dance? These are the dancers? What was the dance?
Those are the dancers. They were mime dancers, and we had chosen 2 songs that we really liked, and they opened for us and they closed for us. And I have a picture too, Your Honor, of the table with no bread and butter.
Show me your picture. That's why I'm asking, was it some of the tables that didn't or all of the tables that didn't?
It seems like they ran out of time. They were very negligent. She had already told me that
what's the
she
deal
had
with this
another
long
event.
table that doesn't have it?
There wasn't any guests there. She wanted it to be hot per our conversation here. She initially wanted 80 plus guests to be there. Only 23 showed up. So there was no sense in wasting bread to where it would be cold on that area where there was no one sitting. And we went through that via text message before her wedding about the hot and the, about the
Let's talk about, tell me about the fondue fountain. According to you, that's not part of the contract?
No, actually I have 2 events. Normally I'm very popular in the community, so I normally tend to do 2 events per day. This is the actual contract for the very first event, which was before her event, that clearly has the fountain. I only own 1. So there was no contract for her to receive a fountain. She was only supposed to receive a fondant cake, and which she received that day, not a fountain.
Was there a second, there was a date change, right?
Yes.
And there was a second contract?
It's the same contract. But what we did was we crossed off the 2-9 because she wasn't.
Where's the contract with the 2-9 crossed off?
You should have it.
I do have this one that says April 13, 2019 changed date.
That's what it is.
Tell me something. Where is bread and butter written? Because you agree, so it's just down here where you wrote it?
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have any contracts that say that you're supposed to have a chocolate fountain?
No, the reason.
Do you have any text between her where that's something you guys amended later?
No, it's all verbal agreement as far as
I know,
the
but that's
fountain.
a problem. You know how that's
as
a problem?
As far as the fountain.
Okay,
Because
but
Your
so let's
Honor-
talk about each thing because you know that's where the breaches
Yes,
come in. The breaches are
fruit
cumulative.
Was supposed to be contracted, but if you look at the contract, no food is there. No chicken, no fish.
Well,
So
it does say
therefore-
bread and butter on table, and
Right.
it does say fondant cake, and
Yeah.
it does say cookies, apple cider toast. Nowhere does it say fruit, right?
Or any food. It doesn't say fruit or any food.
Yeah, I know it
because
should.
She
it
was
should
writing
say,
stuff on another
no,
piece
I
of
agree.
paper.
Where's the paper that talks about what you're going to serve? Why isn't that in your contract?
This is the menu that we actually wrote in front of each other. Well, I wrote it while she
Is that piece of paper part of your contract?
That's why I didn't
going
give
to
it
have
to you.
it. Yeah, you can just hand it to my bailiff.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, this is your handwriting, right?
Yes. She did
Chicken
taste it.
breast, swai, medley mix, dinner rolls. Now it's the same paper. Okay, so on the other side is everything she wrote, and then on this side is your handwriting, but this part of it is part of the contract, but this part isn't?
That's why I didn't submit that to you.
Except for that.
Only because
I'm
she
sorry.
asked
Wait
for
a
the
second.
food.
Wait a second. Stop. It's your job. You are the professional. You are the vendor.
You're right.
To make sure that the understanding is very explicit between you two. When I just asked you, well, where's the understanding of what's going to be served? That's why I didn't hand this to you because it doesn't help your case. Okay. But this is the only place that what you're serving, which is what you're getting paid $3,100 for, is written. Why isn't it written on a regular contract where it should be? That way there can be no dispute that fruit wasn't discussed. You're saying, well, if you want to know what was supposed to be there, Judge, look at this other paper. But only look at one side. Don't look at the front side. Because the front side might mention a fountain. What does the front side mention?
Not a
Dessert
fountain.
table, gold table cloth with red overlay and backdrop, cheesecake, candy apples, M&Ms, lollipops, cookies, not fruit kind of people.
That's the stuff that she wrote.
Okay, in fairness, this also doesn't say fruit. So is there anywhere where you mention I want fruit on the table?
Okay, here's one communication. I know I have something.
No, about fruit.
Email.
About fruit.
Fruit and all.
Awesome. Jackie, please pay close attention to everything highlighted in yellow. Reminders, red carpet, fondue fountain on top of bar. You got an email on February 20th, which was 2 months before the event, where she mentions fondue fountain on top of bar. If you got that email, why didn't you answer it and say, there's no fondue fountain in your contract?
What I did was I texted her and told her that we need to re-intervene because fondue fountain was not available. It was
Okay,
actually
hold on.
for the event that was
Got
already
it?
booked.
So do you have a text where you tell her that? No. This is after the event. I don't care what everybody says after the event. I want beforehand when she texts you in April.
She didn't text me.
No, I'm sorry. When she emails you in February and tells you fondue fountain on top of bar, what is your response to this email?
I picked up the phone and I talked to her.
Oh, now it's on the phone? Now you don't have text evidence of...
Okay, but I have text evidence telling her that was, this
Okay,
is my
so there's
evidence.
no response to the email.
Fondue
Listen to
was
me.
not in her contract.
Stop.
It was in someone else's contract.
Stop. Listen to me. You have a client who tells you fondue fountain on top of bar. Mm-hmm. And then there is no written evidence on your part going back and saying, this isn't correct, this isn't part of your contract.
Correct.
You had said, in text, I told her, no, wait. So I expect to see a text in February when this email was sent. I'm seeing a text after the wedding. That doesn't count.
Okay.
I want to know what your response was to this, and your answer now is, I verbally told her.
Okay.
Right, did she verbally call you and say, there's no fountain? Right. Okay, so now let's put that one to a side. Tell me let's focus on the food servers, because you had a big objection to the food servers and server attire. Where are the servers? Is this the server?
Me.
You? Were you barefoot? Did I have to see your toes at my wedding?
Yes, because I wear slip resistant.
Why can't you wear slip resistance where I don't need to see your toes?
I didn't want to wear the ones with that clothes in. I wore the one that was outside.
Yeah, I know, but that's my wedding, and I don't really want you open-toed at my wedding.
Okay, well, she didn't hire me.
She have a picture.
Yeah, I don't care. You're doing a wedding. Don't wear sandals. That's the kind of.
That's not sandals. They're water resistant. I mean,
okay, they're sandals. Your toes are showing. All right.
Okay.
I mean, listen. I'm pretty chill. I live in Florida. I'm from Miami. I get it. Okay, my girls barely wear clothes, all right? I get it. I understand, but also, you're doing a wedding. It's kind of not that professional, but anyway. Oh, she didn't hire me, she did. It's her wedding. I mean, come on.
You're right. You're right.
She's taking a picture, which is kind of funny because it's kind of cute. Okay. You have a counterclaim against her for $1,500 for lost wages, defamation, and a red carpet that you say was ruined. Tell me about the lost wages and defamation.
Okay, she went on my business page and she made a post defying my company. She also told people, oh, my decorations was beautiful, but her attitude sucks. Don't book her, things of that sort.
Okay. Let me see that.
And quickly I deleted her comment.
You quickly delete, can you delete, this is what, on your Facebook page, so you can delete somebody's nasty comment?
Yeah.
So how are you defamed?
I'm
if
defamed
you
because
deleted it?
a potential customer that wanted to book me for August was like, no, my friend didn't like it, so I'm not gonna do it.
Okay, can you prove that?
No.
Okay. And you have numerous statements from people saying, my food was cold, I didn't have bread, there was no fruit, but the fruit thing didn't go very far for you. Do you have your Facebook post that you posted? Can I just have it? Maybe
Thank you.
if I read it, you can tell me if this is what you're talking about. Please be very careful of this company. Joe Ted, is that?
It's shorted for Jack of all trades event.
Oh, Jack of all trades event. Is not professional. They do not hold themselves accountable for mishaps. We cannot get that day back. We are taking them to court for negligence and verbal and written contract. Fruit on tables as per contract. It should have been fruit on the tables along with bread, butter, and rolls. There was no fruit, no rolls. Rolls were given to certain tables only. The couple's chair, royal family was not served first. This was a big deal to you, but that's nowhere in the contract either about the royal family being... Few of my guests also said they had to ask for their food and it was cold. The cue card system didn't work. Server attire and hygiene was not up to par. They looked tired, hair frazzled, their appearance was not professional. Verbal agreements to change fruit from the tables to a fondue fountain. If you change fruit from the tables to a fondue fountain, then why are you complaining about fruit on the table?
Because that's what we did when we sat down for the consultation. Fruit was supposed to be on the tables. Then we went for another meeting where every time I go pay her, we sit down and we talk.
Why have you been talking at this trial about fruit not being on the table if you know fruit wasn't supposed to be on the table?
No. I was talking more of the fondue fountain and the fruit not being there at all.
Okay, listen,
Whether it was
I don't
on
think
the
you're following
table.
what I'm saying, so I'm going to need you to follow what I'm saying. Verbal agreements to change fruit from the tables to a fondue fountain. That means that you know fruit wasn't supposed to be on the table.
Right.
Well, then why today were you telling me there was no fruit on the table? You know why there's no fruit on the table. Yeah,
I have something to say.
I'm going to let you say something because your entire marriage is going to be her talking from you. Go.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. You know, we do so many of these cases where people get pissed off at caterers over weddings and whatnot. How do you protect yourself to make sure you're going to get what you expect to get? What do you say?
Just meet with them beforehand and kind of
But then they say, oh, I thought you meant meatloaf, or whatever. Do you know what I mean? How do you do it? How do you protect yourself?
Well, you have to have the tastings ahead of time, and you just got to make sure that all the food that they're providing is what's in your contract as well.
And how do you do that in a contract to make it really specific? You know what I mean? What do you say? Do you actually describe the preparation of the food?
I think you have to actually have it itemized. Like what items that you're going to get for either your appetizers or entrees or desserts.
I got you. Okay, going inside the courtroom.
It was my idea to put the fruit on the table. Like, you can see the kings eat back in the day. They just grab grapes and all that from the table. Yeah, they changed from putting it on the table
Who
to
changed?
Understand. Those two.
Oh, right. You had one request. I want fruit on the table. And the women in your life just went off on the side and agreed to some silly fondue fountain, and you didn't get your fruit, and she didn't get her fondue
Even
fountain.
that, they agreed to take it off the table and put it by the fondue.
Yeah, so that's how all the mix-up comes. She came to me
I'm going
and
to tell
says,
you
"I
guys,
got
I'm
my
done.
fountain."
I want everybody to listen to what I'm going to tell you. I need everybody to listen to what I'm going to tell you. A contract is what we call a meeting of the minds. This side agrees to give up something, in our case, money, and this side agrees to provide something in return for the money that is what this side wanted. There is nowhere where this is more important than in the planning of an event that's important to somebody, whether it's a wedding or a sweet 16s or a retirement, whatever it is. This is their one time, especially a wedding, because hopefully it's your one time. if you're lucky. So I am slightly concerned about all the handwriting on pieces of paper and about how your contract doesn't have, like, with specificity. And I am advising you to change the contract to include that piece of paper that you later just throw in about, hey, this is the food we talked about. As much as possible needs to be in a contract that everybody agrees to and has handwriting on. And if there is an amendment to a contract, it should also be in writing and put as part of the contract. I know that it's a living, breathing event, and that what happens is people change, or people think one thing and people think another, and then people email and text back and forth. If there is a change to something or a specification on something, that needs to be incorporated into the contract. When I've got a bride who says the fondue fountain in an email, and I don't see a response from you, I tend to believe that the fruit was changed to the fondue fountain and you forgot that. When I've got a bride who has a very specific request, I understand why you decided, well, I'm just going to roll out a black one. But that should have been something that she was left to decide, whether it was so dirty it couldn't be used, whether it should have been, there's not even evidence that it got dirty. I don't know whether you just brought the black one. Do you have a picture of the red dirty one? Okay. Do you have one that shows me it's in her venue?
It's right when I pulled it out.
No. Do you have a picture that shows that it's in her venue as opposed to a close-up?
No, it's outside.
Okay, let me see it anyway. Why was it outside?
Because I pulled it out so that she wouldn't witness a dirty carpet and complain about the dirty carpet.
I think that should have been left up to her to decide, because I'm looking at it and it's not even that dirty. I mean, I expected there's a little black smudge, but I really think that that's her place to decide that and not yours. Are you going to get $1,275 back? I don't think I think that's excessive, because I think a lot of the things that you claim were part of the contract, we've talked about them and I don't see them in there, like serving first and all that other stuff. This is an art and not a science at this juncture. But there's no more testimony. You've left this to my discretion because so much of this is fuzzy. So in this art form, I am going to decide what I think should be returned. I find on the counterclaim against you, 0. And on your claim against her, I'm going to order her to return $750. That's my verdict. Good luck, folks.
So the plaintiff does get some money back. Ms. Johnson is on her way out of the courtroom. The defendant, what are you thinking now?
I'm thinking that you should never trust everybody's money, and definitely don't trust anyone with a wig and a girdle on.
No, that's not fair to say.
That is.
You think so? Very much so. All right, well, she's not happy. She blurts on out of the courtroom. But she does have to give money back, $750. Ms. Holmes, you okay with this?
I am just wonderful.
You're wonderful.
I'm wonderful because justice has been served. As they say, it's really the principle of the matter. It's not about the money. We can't get that day back. The money gives us something in our pocket, but it can't bring that day back. I thank the judge for her ruling, and I am happy.
How's married life?
Married life is wonderful. We hate that it started out this way, but it started with a fight, and we're going to fight all the way through if we have to.
Do you agree with that?
I agree, man.
Oh, man.
Free
what a smile you have.
And when I say fight, I mean fight obstacles, not each other.
Okay, very good for you.
Right.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. Okay. Harvey?
I mean, look, the more specific, the better in these menus. Right in the contract, even ingredients that you expect that are going to be there in condiments or whatever it is, as specific as you can get, that will avoid a lawsuit.
These are the plaintiffs, Dwan Thornton and Andre Wheeler. Dwan says they hired the defendants to cater their New Orleans-themed wedding party, and simply put, it was a disaster. They never showed up on their wedding day. There was no food for their many guests, and they're suing for every single penny of the $5,000 they're owed. These are the defendants, Stephen and Lisa. Lisa says her catering manager was driving an electric car that wasn't fully charged, and she got stuck. They scrambled to get to the reception, but the plaintiffs finally told them, just forget it. They apologized profusely. They gave her a full refund, even offered them a $500 credit for a future food order. Bottom line, they still feel badly about the whole thing, but don't understand how the plaintiffs are justified in suing them for all this money today. They're accused of fouling up the food.
All parties, please raise your right hands. Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Andre Wheeler and Dwan Thornton?
Yes.
You are suing Stephen and Lisa. Are you the owners?
Yes.
Who own the cafe for $5,000 that you want reimbursed because they ruined your wedding. Tell me what happened.
Well, in about April, I researched and found their company to cater my wedding for July 19th.
All right.
I had 150 guests, and I got in contact with them by...
Is this the husband?
Yes.
Yes. And how long had you been dating?
17 years.
That's why I asked, because I saw that. 17 years! How old are you? You look so young, though.
42.
Okay. Wow, you guys...
He's older.
Yeah, you both look young. So you were dating 17 years? Why did it take so long? I'm just curious.
I wasn't ready to be married.
You weren't ready to be married?
I wasn't
So
ready.
did you have to work on her for a long time, huh?
For a while, yeah.
Wow. Do you have kids?
Yes.
How many?
We have one. We have a 12-year-old daughter.
Okay, I bet she was psyched.
She the one initiated it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, good for you. All right, so you wanted a certain theme to your wedding.
Yes.
And the theme was what?
Cajun.
Cajun. So you wanted to have kind of a New Orleans flair to it.
Yes.
Okay, so what happens?
Well, initially I was having tastings. They wasn't standing up to my approval. So then my sister, who's in my wedding, she
She told you about their restaurant.
Yes.
And then you tasted it, you liked it, and you...
I had actually been to their restaurant before.
Oh, okay.
And I just forgot all about them.
Right.
So when she brought it up, I'm like, oh, yeah. So
Okay.
I got in contact with
So
her.
is there a written contract in this case?
No.
No. That's always a good idea when you're paying somebody to have in writing things, because so there's no swearing match about what the agreements were.
Well,
but
we
in any event,
corresponded,
say it again.
We corresponded via text messages.
Okay,
Yeah.
so do you have the text messages?
Yes.
Let me see them. So you hire them and you're supposed to pay them how much?
$2,500? No, it was $2,550. I'm sorry.
Okay, $2,550?
No, it was
How much
19.
was it?
That got adjusted because initially what I think the initial
How
amount
much was she supposed to pay for the food if it had arrived? Just give me the figure.
1925.
Okay, so
They prepaid. They did a deposit
right.
beforehand.
All right. So what happened? Your big day. What time are they supposed to be there with the food?
At 1 o'clock.
Okay. And do you agree that that's the time you were supposed to be there with the food?
How the email stated, it was loosely stated that the room wasn't available to bring the food until after 2. So
Do you have that?
I have the email.
Yeah, let me
Yes.
see that. How are they supposed to be there at 1 o'clock if you send them an email that says that they have to be there after 2?
No, I told her that we couldn't go into the reception until 2, but to put it into the kitchen.
Okay, and so, but
It was by
if you're supposed to be there, what time was the wedding?
We didn't have a schedule.
Well, how could you? What do you think you can do? You can get there at 9 just because it says after 2. Let's assume the email that you haven't shown me yet says loosely stated after 2. Don't you have to know as caterers the dinner's going to be served at X time, so we need to get our food there at Y time? I mean, if you don't know, then you should know. You're the caterers. You're the professionals. What do you mean?
The caterer wasn't.
So what
given a
time did your guy leave to go bring them food?
So this is what happened. So on the day of the wedding, she's received awards in the past. She's fantastic, but on the day of the wedding, she was not on the ball.
Wait, who's she? Who are you talking
Our
about?
catering director.
We have a catering
We have a catering
director that
director who's
handles it
completely in
completely.
charge of everything. So
On the day of the wedding, she was what?
She was late. She left late.
What time did she leave?
She left at 3.
At 3? What time was the food supposed to be served?
After 2.
At 6.
Okay, and
Okay.
so she leaves at 3. And how far is she driving? Is she going on to
It's an
the
hour.
other side of the country? Where's she going?
It's an hour away, and it's raining, and it's so there was a whole comedy of things that happened. She was
it's not funny to her.
No,
was it funny to you guys?
No,
I know
absolutely
you
not.
meant a comedy of errors, but
Absolutely
it's
not.
not funny to her. But go ahead.
No,
or
we
him.
feel terrible about this whole thing. So she left late. She was having car trouble. By the time she got
What was the car trouble?
She got a new electric car. She didn't have enough juice, and we just left late. Everything just got worse from there. So she turned herself back around to try and find an operating car to reload so we can get to their location in time. So by the time she got back to the restaurant, it was around 4:30. 4:30, 5 o'clock, and we were reloaded and ready to go.
But the dinner's at 6.
We were never told.
But we were not
That's the
told.
first
Well, what
I've heard
time
of
did
that.
you? I'm sorry, because I'm not going to accept from caterers. We don't know when dinner is. No one ever told us. You're supposed to know. I don't know how you can look me in the eye and say, "Oh, it's loosely stated. We didn't know when dinner was."
We should.
So this we don't know is really lame.
So
the food never came, did it?
The food never came.
What happened at your wedding?
Well, initially, I got there at 2 o'clock. We started the ceremony, got through the ceremony, started the pictures, did all our pictures, came
At this
back
point,
in.
when do you learn there's no food? Not yet?
Not yet.
Oh, thank God. Go ahead.
I was in the back of the site, and I'm sitting down, and he came over, he said, "So where's your food?"
Who said that?
One of our guys that we got to serve the food.
Okay.
He said, "Where's your food?" I'm like,
that's the words you don't want to hear at your wedding day. Where's your food?
I said, "The food is in the kitchen. She should have been here at 1."
So she does. So somebody comes up to you at what time and says, "Where's
It
the
was
food?"
after 6 o'clock.
After 6 o'clock. So what did you guys do?
I got up and I went to the kitchen. I'm going into the kitchen. I'm looking into the stove, the refrigerator. I'm trying to find out
Oh my
where's
gosh,
the
you're
food.
in a wedding
I'm
dress doing
crying.
all this?
Yes. Yes.
She started crying
I'm crying.
uncontrollably.
Where's the food? The food should have been here. That was my last worry. That
Yeah.
was not a worry for me.
Right.
That the food was not there.
So at this point, I just want her happy. I want her to stop crying.
Find your picture.
So I start passing out money. Go get me some food. Get me chicken. Get me potato salad. Get me whatever.
Right.
So we can stop her from crying.
Right.
So her makeup is all over the place. She's
I'm
hysterical.
crying. They coming out. They asking me what's going on.
Who's coming out and asking you that?
The family.
Yeah.
His mother and stepmother, she came out. She grabbed me. She said, "No, we're not going to do this. This is your day. Stop crying. Get it together."
So what'd you do? You ran out and got takeout chicken?
Yeah.
Where'd you get it from on that kind of
I
short?
It was a
gave-
Sunday.
I gave my cousin $500 and told him, so get chicken. So he went to Popeye's Chicken.
Oh, sweetheart. So you had to serve Popeye's chicken at your
Popeye's
wedding instead of the
chicken.
New Orleans feast that you had?
And then I had somebody else go to the supermarket and they bought potato salad and pasta and
Were the guests all over you, loving on you and stuff,
Yes.
and telling you not to worry about
Yes.
it?
Mm-hmm.
That's a wedding.
yes.
That's a wedding. Wow. Was he good? Did he behave well during that wedding?
Yes, he
Is he
did.
a good
took
man?
care of me. He did. He took care of me. He did.
You
He
two
did.
are so cute. I'm gonna kill you.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So, is that caterer's defense a good defense? I mean, they never told me what time to show up.
Not at all. It's their job to know what time to be there.
What if the bride and groom don't say what time they're supposed to be there?
Well, if they... Yeah, they just ask. I don't know.
I said their job to ask.
It's their job to ask. Yes, it is.
What do you say?
Well, I just think the caterer should have been there on time, and
All the time? Yeah. For the 17 years they dated?
he should. No, on time. I said.
Oh, on time. Okay, that's very different, going inside the courtroom.
This is awful. It's awful. Of course, I'm sure you feel terrible.
We feel absolutely mortified. It was a bad situation.
By the way, you might want to know this. What have you got there? What is that?
A picture of me walking out as man and wife.
Are you all teary-eyed?
No, because at that time I didn't know.
Oh, yeah. I wish this hadn't happened. They wish this hadn't happened. I'm sure you wish this hadn't happened. And I don't know that it's enough to just return the money for your unearned work, because you ended up returning the deposit to them.
Yes.
Right.
You know, now I don't know that it's appropriate to say pay for my wedding, which is what you're saying. You want them to pay for the rental supplies?
Yes, because the site did not come with none of that stuff.
Well, okay. But
It didn't come. We had to pay for the plates, the spoons, the cups,
I know,
everything.
I know.
Right.
But why would they have to pay for your flowers? Your makeup I kind of get, because
Right.
they ruined your makeup because you cried. But why would they have to pay for flowers and vases, charger plates, all the things that you were going to have at your wedding
Right,
anyway?
right.
I think the correct figure is to award you $2,000, and I'm going to order them to pay you $2,000 for all of your ancillary expenses that resulted because of this breach. And then I'm going to say something that doesn't need saying. I can tell it doesn't need saying. But oftentimes, when something goes wrong in a wedding and I have litigation with the bride and groom, I often have to explain to them, or feel the need to explain to them, that, you know, life is like that. And long-term relationships are like that. Well, you've had a long-term relationship, so you don't need me explaining how it works. But you also don't need to know that this is exactly what they mean by making lemonade out of lemons. And I saw the last sentence of your complaint, which made me very happy, which was, it was a beautiful wedding other than this. Because life will throw you these kind of curveballs. This is kind of a really major one. And hopefully this will not happen to you again. But it's nice to know that when it does, you two have each other and you two make the best of it. And serve up that Popeyes. I love that. Love it. $2,000 verdict for the plaintiffs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, so the newlyweds have collected $2,000 on you. What's your comment here?
Well, it's fair. I mean, we really didn't uphold our end of the bargain, and we feel pretty bad about what happened. We feel terrible about what happened. I just wish them well in their life together.
Yeah. Want to say anything to the newlyweds standing right there before you head out?
I just say we're really, really sorry, guys. I mean, honestly, from the bottom of our heart.
All right,
and we wish you all the best.
Okay, that's nice. Okay.
All right, sir.
Head right down there with Officer McIntosh. Well, what more can you ask from them, really? Except maybe we wanted more money.
Yes, I did, but I'm happy with the judge's decision.
Mm-hmm. You two have a great story to tell about your wedding. Not many people.
You couldn't tell a story without crying, but now I can tell it and kind of smile about it now. Yeah.
Look who you got to meet, Judge Milian.
Yeah, we did.
And everything.
We did.
And Officer McIntosh. Everything.
Yeah, we did.
How good is that? Right, and the hallway guy. Good. Well, good. We all wish you the best. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Harvey.
Here's the deal. When you have an event like a wedding or a big party or whatever, when you sign contracts with caterers and people like that, be as specific as you can in the contract, down to the hors d'oeuvres you're serving and how many. The more specific, the fewer problems.
These are the plaintiffs, Michael and Rhonda Bostic. Michael says they hired the defendant, a distant relative, to cater their wedding, and the services he promised were very different from the ones they received. The food was terrible, their guests complained, and they got nowhere near what they paid for, and they were severely disappointed. They're suing for $3,100, a portion of the amount they paid the guy. This is the defendant, Demetrius Johnson. He says it was unfortunate, but on the day of the wedding, there were tornado warnings, and he had to move the cooking of ribs and chicken from the outdoor grills to a small residential-sized kitchen. He made it clear with the plaintiffs beforehand that bad weather could impact the food prep, but they rolled the dice. He's been in business for 7 years, went above and beyond considering the circumstances, and definitely doesn't owe the plaintiffs any type of refund. He's accused of fouling up the food.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiffs say the defendant ruined their wedding by serving crappy food and basically making everything awful. But the defendant says a tornado made it hard to do the job he was supposed to do. It's the case of, I got bad reception.
Thank you, Douglas. Michael and Rhonda Bostic, you are suing Demetrius Johnson, a distant relative, and Untamed Flavors, the caterer at your wedding.
Yes.
Who, according to you, botched the job tremendously. Tell me what's going on.
Well, August 5th, 2012, this year, we got married, and we received a disservice by this gentleman, Demetrius Johnson, of Untamed Flavors. We paid him decent money to get St. Louis ribs, chicken Tian, Virginia beans, all this. We didn't get any of that. I mean, the service he just provided a service, but the food was terrible.
What was wrong with the food? First of all, how much did you pay him in total?
It was $36.58.
So what happens on the night of the wedding? What is the first inkling you have that something is a problem?
Well, we were guaranteed 3 grill chefs and 8 waiters.
Okay.
This is what we got, Your Honor. Man, we've got his team, and this is it. Children that are like 12 years old.
Get out of here.
This is the picture.
Now.
There's not 8 there.
Left him with 4 children.
Oh, God bless the children who are in shorts and white shirts.
Now, mind you, we have...
at your wedding. Is that how they were at your wedding? Or
Yes.
did they dress up? Why are there children?
I had 2 children that were the age of 12.
That was my son and my daughter.
The twins?
No.
How old is he and how old is she?
Well, one's from a different side. Yeah.
Oh, you were very active that year, huh? Okay.
Sorry.
The two 12-year-olds.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And the thing is that that's not everybody that was actually working. That was just a picture for my family, which was
Okay.
told to the photographer, which is also part of our family.
Okay, so two 12-year-olds and what else?
I had two 16-year-olds. I had a 40.
These two? The guy with the baseball cap?
That gentleman was one of my utility workers.
Okay, who else is there that's not in the picture that you sent to serve?
All right, we have two older ladies.
Who are how old?
16.
Okay, do you get me or you don't get what I'm complaining about? If I'm having a wedding and you sell me 8 servers, okay, I'm expecting grown-ups to be serving, not juveniles dressed in white polos, khaki shorts, and sneakers. I'm not expecting that, right?
Oh, no. Definitely not.
Right. So then what happens? Talk to me about the quality of the food.
The potatoes was supposed to be smoked Gouda.
Right?
No smoke, no Gouda. Just scalloped potatoes coming out of box.
Okay, he didn't add smoked Gouda to it? Or?
Store brand box scalloped potatoes.
Box scalloped potatoes like box? Like the kind you get in the grocery
Box, like a Price Chopper store brand scalloped potatoes.
Okay, not tray.
They saw it
but-
in the- No.
Who saw the scalloped potatoes?
My
Come on
aunt.
up. What is your relationship? Switch with her, will you? What is your relationship to them?
I'm Michael's aunt.
Okay, and did you actually see a box of scalloped potatoes?
Yes, I did.
What kind? Like a box like this? Like
No, I mean a large box.
Large box?
Large boxes, a number of them.
But where did you see them?
I saw them in the garbage. What makes that so difficult is that you would have had to go through the dining room guest to get to where the garbage can was. So
it means the dining room guests found out that their scalloped potatoes weren't what? Fresh, like you
because-
expected them to be cut and cooked and everything else there.
We actually expected everything to be freshly made and made from scratch. And to find out that most of the dinner was pre-cooked and frozen and then brought and...
Now, there was one problem, though, with the chicken, because the chicken had to be cooked before because there was a big storm that day.
We had 2.5 hours worth of rain. And in my contract, it says during Clementine weather, we cannot...
During what?
Clementine weather.
Clementine weather?
Any precipitation
Do you mean
increase-
inclement weather? Inclement
excuse
weather.
me, sorry.
Clementines are little oranges.
I'm sorry.
Wait,
Well, I'm a food chef, so-
wait. I never have any fun. Just hold on. I'm sorry, hold on. Does the actual contract say Clementine weather?
Yes, it does.
Okay, you are going down in my book. No. No, listen, any form of inclement, change that to inclement. So you mean if there's any hurricanes or anything else like that?
Excessive wind, all
Okay,
that's...
that you will
breached
stop the
shenanigans.
service and all cooking of products till the end of such activity or the end of the event. And that's how about outdoor cooking,
That's
right? Outdoor
cooking, yes.
right? So what did you do? You ended up making the chicken indoors instead of the outdoor cooking?
We sauteed the night before.
Oh, you did? Well, how
And
did you
we
know?
put
You didn't know then about the several hours of rain that was happening?
Oh, no, I knew we were having a big storm. We even spoke to them the previous day before.
And told them we're sauteing all
gonna
this chicken now?
We're going to have a big storm. We're going to try our best to
Now,
put
according
it
to
out.
you, the chicken was awful. It was like a hockey puck. Overcooked?
Overcooked,
Dry?
breaded chicken patties.
Okay.
And sauteed, I didn't see any of that. I didn't see tomato.
Okay. Were you a guest as well?
Yes.
Come on up. Both of you come on up and don't sit down again. Switch around with wife. Tell me about the food.
It was breaded flat chicken, like patty. Some of it
There was
had-
no tomato or mozzarella or that
There
whole
was
thing?
some that had melted cheese,
Okay.
no sauce or anything.
Okay. How'd it taste?
Was dry. It was no sauce, no gravy, anything that really gave it any pizzazz.
Okay.
There was string.
What about the ribs?
I have also
I
documents
never had
from
any of
people.
I've seen letters from countless guests saying that
Okay.
the food was garbage. Okay, go on. What about the
Frozen.
ribs?
Ribs, I didn't have any, so I can't really speak on that.
What about the rest of the food?
The rest of the food, I only had salad, which didn't have much, like
Okay.
no
All right,
tomatoes,
skinny
just
mini. Move
lettuce.
along. Move on down the road, okay? Well, who's a pork eater around here?
Me.
Anybody taste some pork? Okay, come back, wife. How were the ribs?
It had a dab, like maybe a teaspoon of barbecue sauce,
Okay.
But
do you guys have any pictures of
they,
the food?
they were raw.
No, we didn't take any pictures.
They
They
were
were
raw.
raw. So those were undercooked and the other ones were overcooked.
Right.
Okay.
And also, as defendants talking about the 2-hour rain and things like that, we have pictures prior to going to the wedding, during the wedding, after the wedding.
It's all high and dry.
There you go.
Okay, I have a question for you now.
Sure.
When you see that he's got children serving, do you guys say anything to him?
I told him he had to serve. I mean, you come in and then all of a sudden there's children there and you're like,
It's very
whoa.
Bush League. The whole thing just seems kind of...
What could you do at that time?
I know.
You
I
know,
know.
it's like, well, let's just get through it.
Right.
You know, and that's about it. And then I'm getting all these complaints. I called.
Are you getting complaints during the wedding?
I looked at my family and friends and I said, how's the food? And you know how they look at you like, you
You need to get new family and friends. You people are all out because what they should be saying to you that day is it's fabulous,
No,
honey.
well,
and then later tell you.
I had a couple of family members that really wanted to hurt this young man.
They wanted to hurt him.
I mean,
but aren't they related to him too? How
Yeah,
are you
but
guys
still,
related?
my Aunt Shirley is.
You're the Aunt Shirley?
No, that's Juliet.
Okay.
Through marriage, Aunt Shirley.
All right.
That's her nephew.
Okay, so now, did you get complaints from the people that night?
I did get complaints about the chicken.
What were the complaints?
Everything else was very good. The chicken was too tough.
Right.
Had good flavor, but it was too tough.
Okay.
All right, not a problem.
A lot of the people there know your flavor because they've eaten your catering before?
Absolutely, yes, and that's the reason why they came to me, because their family have tasted what we produce.
Right.
And we've been doing this more than 7 years. I've been doing this since 12 years old.
Have you always brought children to serve in the place of grown-ups?
I do bring children as for clearing, not for actual serving.
So why did you do it this time?
I'm sorry?
Why did you do it this time?
I just had 2 people that failed on me that day. And I had to have something. I wasn't coming not prepared.
What about the potatoes? What's with the potatoes?
The potatoes were good.
No,
I'm
but
gonna tell
they
you,
say they were
the
box
only problem
potatoes.
they had was it was a box.
And was
yes,
it?
they were out of a box. They were docked up with spices and herbs and also smoked Gouda spread on top. This was a good meal.
Okay.
Like, I don't know what they're complaining about. They seen boxes, and it wasn't a fact. This is an afterthought that they said, listen, I thought everything was going to be fresh. Listen, some things are labor intense, and to save them money.
So this defendant uses his kids, 12, 13, and 16 years old, to be the servers. Is he allowed to do that?
Absolutely not. I wouldn't even trust my nieces who are 12 and 13 to make cereal for me. So, no, it's just not acceptable.
You're nodding. Does that mean you're nodding? You agree?
If they have a work permit, they're legitimate workers.
So you had a wedding and you saw a 12-year-old being the server, you'd be okay with that?
It might be ethically wrong, but it might not be illegal.
Okay, and?
I just think that maybe it was on the wedding party to check out the servers before.
Oh my God, I can't believe you guys. Buyer beware? Going inside the courtroom.
Here's the deal, okay? You didn't get your money's worth. I agree. I think he agrees. The debate that we have is how much did you pay for what it is that you did get? I'm going to decide what I think the appropriate amount of restitution is based on the multitude of complaints about the food in numerous letters that he's handed to me too. I'll give you a chance to say something right now. Based on the admission that you have that everything had to be cooked beforehand, based on the admission that you have, I understand what you're saying. Hey, he never specified it had to be fresh, but when you're paying several $1,000s for food, I kind of expect you to be chopping some potatoes instead of buying some boxes. But anyway, if you were to be able to pull that off with good tasting food, people wouldn't be upset. But also, if you don't throw the boxes out in the reception area, they also wouldn't be upset. I think they're more upset about being embarrassed than the taste of the potatoes, although there were complaints about the taste of the potatoes as well. Okay, according to them and their guests who write in, undercooked spare ribs and overcooked chicken, which you concede. And then to me, like almost as bad, if not worse, children, right? Because it just looks so second rate. So second rate.
Your Honor.
Yeah, go ahead.
They're actually saying how professional the party was.
Who's they?
Mr. and Mrs. Baltic.
Okay,
Boston.
wearing a text or something?
And everything. They actually said that there was no professionalism in my service.
Wait.
I'd like to say that when
I'm sorry,
they walked...
stop.
Oh.
They told you how professional the children were?
There wasn't any professionalism
Right.
in my service.
Right, and including having children in shorts serving.
No,
yeah.
I understand that.
Okay.
But as for me coming into the party, when they came in, all hors d'oeuvres were ready. All
Okay.
right? They came in late. I was the only person there. There was no event planner. There was no beverage center.
Okay,
There was nothing.
I have to tell you, I don't care, and I'm not going to let you keep speaking. And I'm going to tell you why. I don't really care if people can't afford a full blowout, Princess Diana wedding. They can afford what they can afford. And if what they paid was cut rate, they still expect what their contract says. And if you feel that you went too low on the contract, too bad for you that you're trying to be nice to your family and to everybody else who's going to be. I don't care. They deserve what they get. I will never look at anybody who pays $3,000 or $20 for something. If they didn't get their $20 worth, I will not say, what do you want? It's $20. I'm never going to say that. I'm not. And you shouldn't. If somebody pays you $3,600 for something, then you give them $3,600 worth. And if I don't think you gave them $3,600 worth, they have one wedding. One wedding. Odds are, between the two of you at least.
This is it.
This is it.
This is
right?
it.
This is it.
This is it.
And they don't want this to have happened. They would prefer not to be on the people's court. They would prefer not to have to bring people in here. They would prefer not to have people write letters. I don't think they're doing this because they're trying to pull one over on you. They're doing this because they're genuinely unhappy. No one talks anymore but the lady in the black dress. I am ordering you to refund a portion of the money, $1,854, verdict for the plaintiffs.
Well, the caterer is first out of the courtroom on the losing end of this verdict here. What's going through your mind?
Actually, I just felt that we put out a good service. I feel bad that we had kids. But they said things like the food wasn't cooked when ribs, you had parboiled. I've never served anything, and I do this every weekend.
You would have kids serve again at your next function?
No,
Okay.
absolutely not.
Not a great
But
idea.
Over 16, yes, would be.
Okay. Was this your best professional effort, or?
I think on the serving part, no, but on the cooking part, we put out a good product, and I think this over-exaggerated.
All right. Head right around the corner. And come on out here. Here's the happy, here are the newlyweds. Satisfied with what you got out of this?
We have to be, a little more, but, we won. I mean,
Can't you cut him some slack? It was a tornado and it was Clementine weather and everything?
Yeah, there was no weather. It was none. He just botched the job. I think it was too much for him.
Any family fallout over this?
Nah, I don't have to speak to him ever again.
Harvey?
Okay, here's the thing. You can negotiate whatever rate you want, the best deal you can possibly get in a contract if you're supposed to deliver something. But when you're supposed to deliver, you can't say, well, I have a right to be substandard in what I did because it was such a cheap price. You have to still perform at a professional level.